At 2:03 a.m. on October 17, 2023, four friends pulled into a gas station that officially did not exist. The security footage from nearby traffic cams would later confirm their car passed through a stretch of State Route 125 in Clermont County, Ohio, a desolate strip of road that cuts through farmland and dense patches of woods just outside the town of Hammersville. No businesses are registered there, no active utilities, no operating structures. And yet, they all swear the station was lit. Mark Reynolds was driving. Beside him sat his girlfriend, Alyssa Carter. In the back seat were brothers Devin and Luke Holloway. They'd left Cincinnati hours earlier, trying to reach Maysville, Kentucky before sunrise. The fuel gauge dipped below a quarter tank, and tension crept in with it. That's when Mark saw it. A flickering sign ahead. A gas station set back from the road, dim canopy lights buzzing overhead. It looked wrong, Mark would later say, like it had been forgotten. They turned in anyway. What they claim happened next would send them digging through fire records, county archives, and old news clippings, uncovering a tragedy that took place 14 years earlier. Because according to official documentation, that gas station burned to the ground on March 11, 2009. And the night clerk died inside. So the question is simple. If the building was destroyed, what did they walk into? To understand what happened that October night, we have to go back to 2009. The building once stood at 4821 Old State Route 125, a small independent station known locally as Harris Fuel and Mart. It served truckers, farmers, and late-night travelers for nearly 3 decades. Nothing glamorous, just fluorescent lights, stale coffee, and a clerk behind bulletproof glass. On March 11, 2009, at approximately 1:42 a.m., the Clermont County Sheriff's Office received multiple 911 calls reporting flames visible from the highway. By the time firefighters arrived, the structure was already engulfed. Inside was 38-year-old night clerk Daniel Harris, son of the station's owner. Investigators later ruled the fire accidental, caused by an electrical malfunction in the back storage room. Daniel never made it out. The building was declared a total loss, demolished later that year. The property sat vacant, overgrown, eventually erased from GPS listings, at least officially. Mark and his friends claimed they didn't know any of this when they turned into that gravel lot on October 17, 2023. They were just tired, low on gas, running on caffeine and highway hypnosis. But when they stepped onto that cracked asphalt, something felt preserved. Alyssa described it like this. It didn't look like rubble. It looked like it had been burned and then frozen in time. And that's where things begin to shift from coincidence into something much harder to explain. The closer they drove, the more details came into focus. The canopy lights flickered with a faint electrical hum. The sign out front was half lit, missing letters, the plastic warped as if melted long ago. The fuel pumps leaned slightly inward, their plastic housings bubbled and distorted like candles left too close to flame. Mark put the car in park. No other vehicles, no road noise, no wind, just silence. Devin was the first to say it out loud. "Does this place look burned to you?" The windows were blackened from the inside. The brick exterior was stained with soot that rain hadn't washed away. A faint odor hung in the air, not fresh smoke, but something older. Charred wood, melted insulation, a chemical aftertaste. Luke checked his phone. No service. Alyssa later said the temperature felt colder near the building, like stepping into a shadow that didn't belong there. Still, they rationalized it. Maybe it had burned and reopened. Maybe it was abandoned but someone kept the power running illegally. Maybe it was a film set. Mark grabbed his flashlight and said he'd check inside. That decision, walking through that door, is the moment every one of them says they wish they could undo. Because when the metal door creaked open, the smell got stronger, and something inside moved. Mark describes the interior as preserved decay. The tile floor was warped and sticky under his boots, as if plastic had melted and cooled unevenly. Shelves stood crooked and empty. The coolers were open, their glass doors cracked in spiderweb patterns. The air felt thick, not dusty but heavy, humid with a scent of burned wiring and old wood. His flashlight beam cut through the darkness in sharp cones. He called out, "Hello?" No response. But from somewhere deeper inside, near what would have been the stockroom, came a scraping sound. Not random, rhythmic, slow. Mark's breathing changed. He admits that now. "I wasn't scared yet, just alert." He approached the counter. The old cash register sat tilted sideways, its drawer half open. Inside was a single yellowed receipt, dated March 11th, 2008, 1 year before the fire. Time, 1:36 a.m., 6 minutes before the 2009 emergency call was logged. That detail would only hit him later. At that moment, the scraping sound came again, louder, closer, not scurrying like a raccoon, dragging. And then he saw it, a shadow crossing the back wall. Tall, broad, human-shaped but wrong in proportion. He couldn't make out features, just movement. And then, silence. Outside, Alyssa and the brothers were growing anxious. The longer Mark stayed inside, the more oppressive the silence felt. Luke stepped out of the car. That's when the canopy lights flickered violently, buzzing, strobing as if power were surging through unstable wiring. Then, all at once, they went out. Complete darkness. Alyssa streamed for Mark. From inside the building, they heard running footsteps, fast, uneven. Then the front door slammed open. Mark burst out pale, shaking, eyes wide in a way Devon says he's never seen before. "Go, now." They didn't argue. As Mark reversed, he glanced in the rearview mirror. The station was no longer faintly lit. It was pitch black. No canopy lights, no sign glow, nothing but an empty patch of darkness along the roadside. They drove 20 miles before stopping again. At sunrise, they turned back, determined to prove to themselves it had been real. But when they reached the location, there was no building, just overgrown grass and a concrete foundation barely visible through weeds. Back home, shaken but skeptical, Devon began researching. Property records confirmed the address had been cleared in late 2009. Satellite imagery from 2011 onward showed nothing but vacant land. Mark filed a public records request for the fire report. The documentation was detailed. Origin point in the storage room, electrical failure, 1 fatality, Daniel Harris. Time of emergency call logged at 1:42 a.m., March 11th, 2009. The receipt Mark claimed to have seen, 1:36 a.m., 6 minutes earlier. When asked about the timeline, retired fire investigator Thomas Kearney stated, "In fast-moving structure fires, 6 minutes is the difference between life and death." There were rumors, too. Local forums mentioned drivers occasionally reporting a flicker of lights in that area late at night. Nothing substantiated, no photos, just stories. Clermont County officials declined to comment on paranormal claims, reiterating that the structure no longer exists. But one detail remains strange. Traffic camera footage that night shows their car slowing, as if turning into something. Yet there is no visible structure in the frame, only darkness. So what happened? Theory 1, exhaustion and shared hallucination. 4 tired individuals misinterpreting shadows and roadside debris. But hallucinations don't leave synchronized memories down to specific details, the warped pumps, the smell, the receipt. Theory 2, an elaborate prank site, an abandoned set piece or art installation removed by morning. Unlikely. County zoning records show no permits, and constructing a full-scale burned station overnight would require equipment, labor, and planning. Theory 3 is the one locals whisper about, residual haunting. A traumatic event replaying under specific environmental conditions. Late hour, similar weather, similar timeline. October 17th, 2023, 2:03 a.m. Nearly the same window of time as March 11th, 2009. Some paranormal researchers argue that intense emotional events can imprint themselves on physical locations like recordings etched into magnetic tape.
If so, perhaps what Mark saw wasn't a shadow, but an echo. And if that scraping sound was real, was it someone trying to escape? Today, the lot remains empty. Grass, wind, silence. Mark refuses to drive that stretch of Route 125 after midnight. Alyssa says she still smells smoke sometimes when she wakes up. Devin keeps a printed copy of the 2009 fire report in a folder labeled simply Hammersville. They've told their story consistently. No embellishments, no contradictions. 4 witnesses, 1 location that should not exist, and a timestamp that lines up a little too perfectly with a man's final moments 14 years earlier. Maybe it was stress, maybe it was coincidence, or maybe, just maybe, for a brief window of time, they didn't stumble onto an abandoned gas station. They crossed into a moment that never fully ended. Because here's what no one can explain.